Hello everyone, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and today we're not talking about Fire Emblem, we're not talking about Tactics Ogre, or the tactics genre in general, or even things like Destiny or Diablo or other topics that you've seen on the channel recently. No. What we're talking about today is the recent takedown of upcoming extraction game Dark and Darker, which is something that I've played a couple of times on stream, a couple of times with mods as well, and a lot by myself when it was in its most recent open beta. And it's a hell of a game. It's honestly kind of really took me by surprise and seems to have taken a lot of people by surprise with the sheer quality in its design. And we'll talk about that in a second just as a brief overview, but the main topic here is that takedown that occurred on behalf of company Nexon. And the only Nexon property that I'm at all familiar with is MapleStory from when I played it back in the day, but apparently they have grown massively, have all sorts of different games, and don't have a very good reputation, so a lot of you out there might be more familiar with them than I. But yes, so the topic here today, Dark and Darker, taken down by Nexon, a South Korean massive gaming company, and Dark and Darker being made by an indie team, Iron Mace, also a South Korean company, with apparently some developer basis in Nexon. So Iron Mace, their whole idea is they want to make good games for people with passion because they've worked in the South Korean gaming industry and they see its evils and they don't want to perpetuate it anymore, and they just want to make games that people love, right? That's kind of the general idea of their modus operandi. You can find that statement in its entirety on their website. And I mean, I got to respect it. You have to respect it. The AAA industry has been something wild in recent years, and the indie space and the AA space has been more and more appealing as a result. And when something like Dark and Darker comes around, which, again, is an extraction-type game, the best comparison I can make is to Escape from Tarkov. Not that I've played Tarkov, but I've seen it compared to such. That is dark fantasy, team-based, slow, Dungeons and Dragons-inspired, swords and sorcery. It's very interesting. There's not been anything like it that I've seen before. And I immediately got sucked into it. I should have some footage up here from one of my streams that you guys can see. It's just fun. You know, player versus environment, creepy, dark, dank dungeons. It's hard, but it's rewarding. You've got like a Diablo-esque inventory system. You can play with friends, and you have to make decisions. Do you fight this boss? Do you try and get this chest? Is it worth trying to avoid these traps? Do we ambush these players? Can we take them? And it's exhilarating to get in, find some cool loot, fight a bunch of monsters, maybe fight off a couple of players, escape with said loot, and then go in again and see what happens. See if you can get even better stuff, maybe take down like an actual boss. It's a ton of fun. And people apparently took notice. It's been exploding in popularity. I learned about it from a streamer that I watch, Elias, from him playing it. And then I saw all sorts of other people were playing it. I saw Day9 was playing it, Co-Carnage, I think, was playing it, all sorts of different people. And apparently, I wasn't the only one, and the world at large was not the only ones taking notice of this. Nexon took notice of this. And so recently, Nexon performed what I believe was a DMCA takedown of Dark and Darker, citing that it used stolen assets and stolen code and was like made by developers who were working on a similar project at Nexon and then left to make the project themselves. And so they're saying that it's actually like their property by right, this P3 project that they were developing, apparently. And of course, Iron Mace has vehemently denied this. They say this is 100% their own assets or assets that they got off of the Unreal store based in the Unreal Engine, that their developers wrote all of the code in-house, that they don't have any remaining ties to Nexon. You can't copyright a genre is the thing that they've been saying a lot. And I mean, I'm no lawyer. I'm certainly don't have any insider information or anything. I'm basically just going off of what I've learned via, their Reddit and their Discord updates and all that type of stuff. But it seems like things are pretty clearly in Iron Mace's favor right now. They've shown evidence, side-by-side comparisons of code to show that it's unique. They've even said that like the police have raided their headquarters and not found any evidence that they're using any copyrighted assets or stolen assets or anything like that. But this game still got taken down, and its future is kind of in murky water, and that sucks. Like, if Nexon is telling the truth and this is based on stolen assets, it sucks because it's an awesome game, and I certainly was planning on playing more of it. I had a blast playing it with my channel mods. They had a blast playing it. Everyone who I've watched play it loves it. But if it's Nexon's by right, then it shouldn't come back, and that's a shame. I would hate to see that happen. If it's not Nexon's by right, though, which seems like it's probably the case, then that opens up a whole different can of worms, because it's like, what? They're just trying to take this down because they're mad that some of their former developers left and made a better project than Nexon would have made, and they're going to reap the reward of presumably massive player counts, massive amounts of income, all that type of stuff, and they want to put a stop to that, either just out of pure petty reasons or because they have their own project that's going to be coming out. They don't want competition. Who knows, man? Who knows? But it's a shame to see, and fortunately, the controversy around this has been picking up steam as well. I know most recently, Moist Critical apparently did a video about the whole thing, talking about it. And I mean, that's a massive amount of traction. Yeah, people talk about Critical being like a drama YouTuber or whatever. I don't watch his stuff. I don't care if he's a drama YouTuber, though. He's got a huge following. It brings light to this and helps Iron Mace make their case. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Because I just want to see this game succeed. Man, I want to play more of it. I want to have fun in it with my friends, with my mods, with my community. I want to see other people play it, and I want to see Iron Mace recognized for making something really unique and fun and soulful. Especially when you have a team that is so dedicated to their vision. Like the number of requests that I've seen to, change this, change that, this is too slow, this is too hard, this is too dark, etc., etc., etc. And their statement is just good. That's how we wanted it to be. And players just like, I didn't consider that. It's like, yeah, just because you're a player doesn't mean that you actually understand the game or the way it was designed to be played or be experienced. Maybe you don't actually know the game better than the people who made the game, and as such, your criticism and feedback isn't actually worth as much as you think it is, which is refreshing. Like, I love to see devs come out and make something that they enjoy and hopefully we'll see other people enjoy, and just put it out there and let people experience it. It's such a throwback to older days of gaming when games would just come out and they were weird and wild and they didn't follow a formula, they didn't follow a set of rules. And things felt so much more unique and interesting as a result. I think that's what's drawn me in the most about Dark and Darker. It's not just the theme, that dark fantasy vibe. It's not just dungeon delving, finding loot, fighting other players, fighting monsters. All that appeals to me, but I can get that in any number of other games. It's the feeling behind what Dark and Darker is that I think really drew me to it and drew a lot of other people to it as well. I think the biggest potential issue here when it comes to Nexon successfully taking the game down and keeping it down is the fact that there's at least one member of the dev team from Iron Mace who they've said came from Nexon, if not more. And I have no idea how like trade secret contractual stuff works in the gaming industry. I'm not even going to try to say I know anything about that, but I can imagine that potentially being an issue for Iron Mace and getting the game up and keeping it up. You know, maybe they'll be forced to change aspects of something. There was that Souls-like game that came out recently, Forsaken, I believe it was, or not Forspoken. Forsaken something or other, that had run into issues where like they were accused of having stolen animations from Dark Souls and Elden Ring and stuff, and then they were saying they just got those assets off the Unreal store, and that they would go through and like change everything because they wanted to have that integrity, that it wasn't their intent to try and steal anything from FromSoft or anything like that. So I could potentially see something like that happening with Dark and Darker, which again would be a shame because it'll set back development. It'll take longer to get the game into our hands again, and maybe something about the feel of it would be changed if assets and systems and stuff have to get changed. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about it because it's been on my mind. I've been following all the updates, and I've been very frustrated to see this happening to a game that I've very much been looking forward to. And as the discussion of this whole conflict between Iron Mace and Nexon has been growing, again to the point where you have people like Moist Critical talking about it, I figured I'd throw my voice out there as well, chat about it. I know there's a bunch of people in my community who've been excited about the game since I've been talking about it, and they've been interested in seeing more of it, playing it for themselves, all that type of stuff. So we'll see what happens as all this stuff develops. Iron Mace has been posting a lot of updates very regularly. They seem quite confident that they're in the right, that they haven't done anything wrong, and that they'll be able to deal with all of this. But apparently that's a sentiment shared in the West, but in South Korea specifically, sentiment is much more on the side of Nexon from what I've been seeing. So we'll have to see what happens if things wind up going to court or whatever happens. Who knows? But I don't have any plans at the moment to cover like more of this. It's not really the type of content that I like to do on the channel. I just wanted to talk about it today because, again, this game, in the short amount of time that I've had with it, really got its hooks in me, and I legitimately care about its success. So let me know what you guys think. If you think that there's any chance that Iron Mace will be able to fight this, that Dark and Darker will come back, let me know if you're excited to see it come back, if you think Nexon might actually be in the right here, all that type of stuff. Just have that conversation in the comments. Just be civil, and we'll see where this goes from here. We'll be back to our normal Fire Emblem Tactics Ogre, Tactics game type content coming up here. I've got some Titanium Trials videos to do, plenty more guides, streams, all that type of good stuff. And I hope you found this interesting. Until the next video, until the next stream, my name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.